Hello, Apps here from Dimp Digital. Welcome to our review of Celeste. The man in the hot seat this time round is Pacman himself, Tom Adcock. How you doing?
Hello, mate. Yeah, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Good, thank you. So you're back again with another indie title. You seem to be rattling through these little platformers and indie titles this year. What's that all about?
I don't know, yeah. I think it's that same holiday, actually. I think I beat Cuphead, and then on the way, sort of broke the back of Cuphead on the way out on the flight, and then finished it off in Holiday. That sort of shows the level of the holiday. And then, yeah, knowing that I was coming back and had the same flight again, I downloaded Celeste and, again, sort of broke the back of it on the flight and finished it off when I got home.
These are all Switch. This is Switch again, isn't it? Nintendo.
Sorry,
Switch.
yeah, both on Switch, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's proven to be a great device for these little games, isn't it?
Absolutely. I think now, I've played a couple of big titles, like AAA things, and then, I'm sort of really now edging into, the more retro indie sort of range, really.
Bit concerned that you're still rattling through The Witcher 3. I mean, that's been ongoing for almost half a year now, and it's
just so you know, I did play more of that last night.
Right.
Got the Irish girl on side now for the final battle. You have to do so many jobs with them though. In the end, it's like fucking hell.
There's a lot to do in that game, but
it's like you come, spill your heart, and I haven't finished it. Can you help me first? You're like, no, the Wild Hunter come in, but no, you just fucking help you get a king and queen on this throne. Unbelievable.
Yeah, you don't get anything in return if your earlier actions. You got what have you done for me lately in that game?
Massively. I know this is a massive digression, but do you remember the bit where you're on the sort of, I forget the name of it, Skellig or whatever, the Irish sort of world? Yeah. And there's that one where this bloke sort of getting all depressed and that, and it's because he's got a demon attached to him.
Yeah, I think I do.
And basically, you have to trick the demon into another bit of grief. And basically, they told me to throw a baby into the oven, to trick her.
Oh.
Can you remember what you did at that point?
I didn't do that. I think
Did you go down another path?
You know what? I can't remember, but I remember it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. I may have been tricked into doing it.
Okay.
But it ended up not being.
It's all okay.
World. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I really enjoyed that mission.
Is that a side mission or is that like a main mission?
I think it's main quest.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, I don't know, because at this end point, I don't know if I could just go to the Isle of Mists, or I actually do need to try and round everyone up before going there. But I'm like, I'll just get everyone anyway.
Just get it done. You might get a bonus on the back of it.
Sorry.
That's a fine. No, because Biff's been criticising the podcast, saying there's not enough personality in it. He said it's too formal. So
right.
It aimed specifically at you, I think.
Ooh.
That wasn't. But he's like, it's not natural enough. I'm like, what are you talking about? You don't even listen to him. That's the thing. I'm pretty sure he doesn't listen to him. The thick cunt. There you go. There's some personality. Anyway, Celeste, 2018. It came out January. I thought for some reason it was late last year, but it was actually early last year. And what's quite fascinating about this is that it's pretty much made by, it's got Canadian video game developers, so you obviously got ties with Canada, Matt Thorson and Noel Berry, and it has the art from a studio called Miniboss. So there's actually a really small team on this.
I actually think I met that Matt guy at PAX when I was there. Genuinely.
Stop talking.
No, because we were there with my flatmate and he loved Towerfall, which was this guy's other game, right? And there was a Towerfall contest, and I swear he was overseeing it all, and potential handshake was offered and taken. But to be honest, that could be a massive lie. But I do think he was there, and I do think I did say hi.
I've got a picture of him here. Could you describe how he looks, and maybe the audience?
Sort of Canadian looks, sort of general. Sort of like smoky eyes, I'd probably say. And a good jawline, and a hairline as well. So
well, maybe compared to yours, but not sort of. He's actually got long hair in this picture.
Yeah, he's probably had that cut when I saw him. So it was his PAX cut. So,
but yeah, you're right. He did do Towerfall, and I think I remember actually when you was over in Canada, you did a couple of sort of international rounds of a podcast for us, get a bit of flavour from around the world. And you mentioned you'd been playing Towerfall inside the flat and the guys that you were staying with.
Yeah, have you ever played it?
No, I haven't. Because I think
Fair
the
enough.
reason, and I think we discussed this, but I think my main reason was, and this might not be true now, or may never have been true. I might have just just blown it. Basically, I had a feeling that it was just local co-op only. That you couldn't play it online.
No, you're right. I think that's still the case. I mean, I don't know if it's still the case, but it definitely was when we were there. It was just couch co-op.
Yeah, and which is fine, but I don't really have to. It's perfect for you because you were staying with people that gamed, but when you're kind of living in the house with your wife or whatever, it's not really. She ain't going to play it, and then it's having people round. They make a mess, so yeah. It's not people. There's no popping in this house. That's one thing I will say.
Right, yeah.
That's very much banned. Like Kaz's mum asked for a key to be cut once, and I was like, no, she's not having that.
Shut that right down.
Give it to Keith.
Who
my old
asks
man.
for that?
Oh no, that's mad, isn't it? Keith's got one.
You offer that. You can't be asking for it.
It's true. I offered Keith one because he does jobs around the house now and again, so he's useful. But Jane weren't going to offer much. So
Jane really relegated there. Hopefully she doesn't know that Keith's been given the go-ahead.
No, well, he didn't just randomly pop round, so he's not that sort of type that's just going to... He won't leave the house unless he has to, so he's not going to do it on a whim. But if I need something done, he will come and help, so that's why he's got the key. And also, if I'm out, he can do it whilst I'm at work, so he can just get on with the job. Anyways,
Nice.
Celeste, Matt Forson. So it's a very small team, but they seem to have... produced a bit of a crackerjacket. It was I'd say it was one of the more sort of heavily talked about games last year. I felt like it came out of nowhere, but once it got into the hands of the critics, it was put on everyone's radar as a great game. Do you remember even how you heard about this, or was it just through? Well, obviously Matt didn't email you. You're not that good friends with him. I don't think there's any details.
No, I think it was another podcast I listened to was mentioning it along with Hollow Knight and a couple of other AAA indies, like the best of the indies. And I feel like they came out at similar times. So I think that was my first exposure. And then a nephew actually said he watched the playthrough and just said really recommended it. And when I had a look at the trailer or the playthrough, I looked at it. When I realised it was like a platformer and what it was, I was like, why would you want to watch through that? I know there was a story, but I was like, it seems to me like something you should play. So yeah, then after that, it was just really waiting for the right time to get it, and I was probably looking for a price drop, but didn't happen. And then holiday came and it just made sense. Yeah.
Well, good stuff. I mean, it's interesting, that, isn't it? How the recommendation came sort of through someone watching it, and like you say, these sort of games you'd want to sort of play. But
personally, I mean, everyone's different, right?
Yeah.
So
the old streamer might have actually been entertaining, unlike us boring fucks. So.
Yeah,
it may well have been that kept them engaged. But that's a little bit of cards on the table, because you've played Towerfall previously, which I wasn't aware there was a link there, and from what I remember, you enjoyed that game, but not the main reason, I guess, why you got this. It wasn't going, what's Matt's next game? And then,
no,
none of that. But one of the things that interested me about this game is I was told that there is a bit of a narrative here. There's something for people to get their teeth stuck into, and that they're tackling slightly, not taboo subjects, but subjects that don't really get tackled too often in games, around sort of depression and mental illnesses. Is that an accurate statement, and does this game have a story that you can get your teeth into?
Yeah, absolutely, spot on. It kind of goes into that anxiety and depression and mental health issues. I mean, it's a very sort of small story, but it ties it's like Meat Boy, or is it Meat Boy?
Super Meat
Boy. It's that with a narrative essentially. So trying to put a narrative onto a load of platforming screens, difficult, but they really succeed into making you care about the protagonist, Madeline, I think her name is, and her climb of Mount Celeste.
Yeah.
So I always thought she was Celeste, but she's not. She's the mountain.
Celeste, gotcha.
It is, yeah. So it is a really nice story actually, and you're kind of on board with her, and you want to see what happens and if she's going to be all right.
Yeah. Oh, sounds good. Any idea on the time spent for the game? Is it a sort of a 0 to 5 hour game, a 5 to 10 hour game, of 10 to 15 hours? What sort of slot?
I think 5 to 10. I mean, I don't know, but I'm guessing there's some speedrunner can probably do it in sub 1 hour, probably. If you know what you're doing, you fly around the screens. Yeah. But I think 5 to 10 is about right. It's probably a little bit smaller than I expected, but I think So when I completed it, it opened up another section that I haven't looked at yet, where you kind of go into the core of the mountain. And I think the fact that you're then elsewhere, it kind of changes like the power-ups and how she moves and whatnot. So that could be really interesting. So I'm guessing that's one other whole level.
Yeah.
And I feel like there might be some DLC coming. I don't know, but
okay.
Yeah.
We'll see about that. We spoke about Cuphead last time. That was the last game you reviewed for us. And one of the things that stands out about that game is the art style and the graphics that are used. Now, this obviously doesn't look like a hand-drawn cartoon and doesn't have that, I would say, the same uniqueness as to what Cuphead has. But how does Celeste perform on that front? Is it look nice on the eye when you're playing through? And is there any performance issues or anything like that to worry about?
So yeah, it looks good. I mean, obviously, as you said, it's not trying to have like a really unique art style. It just kind of takes off from like the 8-bit era, really.
Yeah,
so
copycat.
Yeah, really sort of pixelated visuals. I'm guessing
it's Towerfall like that.
Yeah, it looks exactly like a Towerfall level, and a lot of like the. Yeah, I mean, I think they actually. I just read something about it before we come on, and I think basically they done like a kind of like a games workshop.
Like
4
game
days,
jam or whatever they
yeah,
call it,
yeah, see, exactly that game jam, and so I'm guessing they kind of reused like some ideas and sprites and things just to get themselves going. So even some of like the things that would kill you are lifted straight from Towerfall. There's these like plantate vines or whatever, or foliage that kills you, and it's exactly the same as what would kill you in Towerfall.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks good, plays really well. I played it exclusively in handheld, so I have no idea about docked, but it runs like a dream. It has to, because it's obviously really sort of tight platforming, so any slowdown or anything would be a real sort of killer. None of that. But yeah, it doesn't push any boundaries, but it looks nice, and there's no need for it to look any different, basically.
No, well, that sounds good. Let's get into how the game kind of plays and what the structure of it is. So you've referenced Super Meat Boy as a comparison. Is that what the central kind of progression in the game is, that you're basically getting through very difficult or increasingly difficult, challenging platforming levels, and then once you've got through that, you move on to sort of the next stage or the next world? Is that how the game's kind of designed in that sense? It's not like there's no map or anything to choose from. It's just a linear sort of, you progress from A to B.
Yeah, so exactly that. If you know Meat Boy, you know this game really. So
right.
I think Meat Boy mainly is like one screen. I think it might scroll left or right sometimes, somewhat, but generally speaking, you know, there's a end goal and you get there and you're done. Whereas this, if you think more like Super Metroid, you're in like a whole world. But every time you kind of clear a level, sometimes you need to jump back. There's, I think, 1 or 2 stages which are more interconnected. You have to collect keys and whatnot and get back. But it's very light puzzling in that sense. But generally speaking, yeah, it's like an interconnected world, but done one sort of screen at a time, realistically. There are bits where you will scroll a lot more, like it'll be like 4 or 5 panels of level sometimes, but generally speaking, it's one world. There are like branching ways you can go, but generally speaking, that's just to get the optional strawberries. They're like normally a really difficult screen with like a strawberry to collect, and it tells you from the off, it says this will make no difference to your playthrough. It's just that extra challenge if you want it. Gotcha.
One of the things that I never finished Meat Boy, so I don't know if this is true, but I don't remember unlocking any new abilities or powers or things like that during Meat Boy. Does Celeste have any options for that after a certain amount of time you'll get a new ability to make it easier, or to maybe get past certain areas that you wouldn't have been able to without that? Or is it just it's down to the player's skill to get through this?
So she doesn't really have many skills as such. She starts, you can jump, and then whilst being in the air or on the floor, you can do a dash, basically. So that is her like power, her skill. Yeah. And then each of, I think there's say 4 or 5 worlds, and then like a final world. And each one of those 4 or 5 worlds will have like a gimmick, like essentially there'll be theme. Yeah, there'll be like orbs or something, or crystals, something on the screen that will kind of play with your like ability or adjust the gravity or just do something. There'll be a key mechanic that will then play out throughout that whole sort of world.
Yeah.
And then on the last stage, it'll be like an amalgamation of all those things together, like to test all your skills. Later on, she does get the ability to like double dash.
Okay.
So,
right.
But that's, it's not like you can miss it or have to collect it. It's just you hit a stage and then she's got that ability. So, yeah, It's very like Meat Boy again, very light on that sort of thing.
Interesting. One of the things that I've heard people say about this is that it's not Cuphead levels of difficulty, but if you're not paying attention, you won't just breeze through this. Is what I've seen quoted. Is that a correct statement, or did you find it, pretty easy to get through, or are there challenges that players may face?
Definitely challenges, but yeah, definitely not Cuphead levels of challenge.
All feels like it's doable from the outset, whereas Cuphead you're like, I can't do this.
Yeah, to be honest, I think it's just this is like my bag basically. Like I'm not good at like a lot of things, but these sort of games, like it just feels
simple.
It just goes back to my 8-bit days. Like 1 hour, just loads of challenge, but. Yeah, it's always very doable. It felt very intuitive to me. I'm sure it would to anyone else, but I can see why people would maybe get frustrated with certain levels. You will die a lot, but it's generally always your fault, and it's never difficult to see what you need to do. It's just right, you die, you're like, right, I need to do 1 or 2 or 3 things to get through it, and then it's just kind of getting your timing right. Just working out. You meant to jump here at this time or attach to that wall. So I didn't find it like nowhere near Cuphead difficulty, but it is still a challenge. It's definitely no walkthrough.
Interesting. I'm assuming there's no restrictions on lives. Like you can just.
Oh no! And it's that instant reset thing. Literally you die, press go, and you're on the screen again. It instantly loads. So you're like, right, one more.
Right, that's good. So there's no loading screen really.
No.
At all. You just hit Can you just reset randomly if you get halfway through and think, I've gone in the wrong bit or.
Yeah, there's no need, mate. You just let go. You'd be dead in like 1 second. Like there's just spikes and traps and things everywhere. So you never have a thing where you need to like restart a level. It's just let go of the pad and you'll be dead.
Is it that deadly then? Like sort of one mistake and you'll die most likely.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's like spikes and pit. Basically, it is Meat Boy. You kind of look. You think, right, I need to get over there, but there'll be like several like traps and puzzles. Spikes and killer things there. And then towards the end of I think every level, you'll basically then get like a boss. But the boss will be, you'll have to do the same thing, get from A to B, while something is chasing you or shooting you or making the screen crumble around you. So it just makes everything a lot more frantic and things. So, yeah.
Interesting. Mechanics and controls. I guess this is another game that will live and die by its how the gameplay works and what the controls are like. You're playing it in handheld, you're playing it on the Switch. I don't know if you're using the analog sticks or the bodged sort of buttons that factor in as a D-pad on the Switch, which ironically they fixed for the Switch Lite, so it's actually a proper D-pad.
That makes more sense.
A little upgrade for that. But are the controls, do they live up to it, and do they service the game well, or is it something that is going to be a bit of a pain in the backside to navigate?
No, it's the highlight really. It just feels great. Like I said, you just play and it just feels good from minute one. That's super intuitive. If you die, it's always your fault. She can also stick to the walls. I probably forgot to mention that, but everything's. I didn't use the corrupted D-pad thing. I don't think I've ever used that, to be honest. Like, no, unless I'm playing like with the controllers split. If I've got like people around, we're just pissing about.
D-pads are so hit and miss. I find like I don't know how they can't. I remember on the Xbox 360, it was just awful.
But that was positioning, wasn't it? Or was it actually bad...
It was just like raised up, and I always felt like it wasn't, you're pressing up, down, left or right mainly, and obviously the corners as well, but there was always a chance that you'd just slip to the bottom left or the bottom right or the upper left or the upper right. I don't know, I don't like these D-pads. I think they're... And it's funny because back in the day on the PlayStation, they originally launched, it had no analog sticks, and I remember when they brought them in, I hated them. I hated the analog sticks. I didn't use them. I always use the D-pad up until most
That's
games.
It. Yeah, it had like the DualShock pad or something, didn't it? Something like upgraded. Yeah, that's madness, isn't it?
Because when we was playing Pro Evo, I used to use the D-pad, and I used to try a few games with the analog stick and think, no, this is not happening. I'll always use the D-pad, and then like by the time the 360 come along, they made the D-pad so bad, and I don't even think it was functioning as movement. It was just like choose your grenade or whatever. So you took it away anyway. So you had to get used to it. But good to see that Celeste doesn't fall foul of any of that, because like Cuphead, it kind of lives and dies by controls.
I will say, I don't. This is nothing to do with the game. I think it's my pad. I kind of get a little bit of. I don't know if you've had this or this is like a thing, but like every now and again, like my pad will sort of drift. Like it feels like. Is that a thing?
Yes, Joy-Con drift. If you Google it, you'll see that Nintendo have fucking blown it basically with some of the Joy-Cons.
Right.
So I had it in Zelda. I remember I had it in Zelda when I played with the Joy-Cons. I'd be aiming the bow, and it just sort of just to the left it would start, and I was like, hang on a minute, is that because I'm using the gyro? It wasn't. It's this drift shit.
Right, yeah, because I had it a bit on Dark Souls, and I thought it was me maybe getting a bit sort of rigorous with the pad, and then it hasn't done it, or I haven't played it for a long time, and then it started happening on this a bit, and I was like, oh, hang on a minute, and I did think, and I was like, I wonder if this is like an issue. Right.
No. But again, Switch Lite apparently doesn't have that problem,
well,
so early adopters punished by Nintendo. It always happens, doesn't it? No matter what you get, if you get it early, or the first generation of it, should we say.
It's very true, actually,
there's always something wrong. I mean, the PlayStation 4, I never had it, but Biff had to take about 6 controllers back because the rubber was coming off the thumbsticks.
Oh, I've got that as well, yeah.
Yeah. I think it's salty hands, but I mean...
I was going to say, I didn't think that was actually a thing, but yeah, mine are rotting right away, if I'm honest.
No, there was a thing about that as well. I think they changed the material they used on newer ones, so you can't get these things right. And there's a new set of consoles probably coming close to this time next year. We've got to deal with all that crap again.
Did you ever get the Red Ring of Death?
You know what? I think I may have once. I may have got that once, but not... It wasn't like I know some people that had to send like 5 Xbox back.
I know, I had to send 1 back.
Yeah. No, I in fact, I may never have got it. But what I remember is that those that had to send it back, it was a pain, but it was all paid for, wasn't it? It was like
they made it as painless as possible, apart from the fact you were without your console for, I can't remember how long, to be honest, but
10 days or something.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't feel like it was that long, because I was like well into my like online gaming then, like Gears and whatnot, and I don't remember it being like a massive hassle, really.
So that's before you fell asleep playing Gears 3 campaign.
Gears 3 cost me. I hear Gears 5's really good. This is the fucking most random review ever. But yeah, I hear Gears 5 is actually really good. I was like, oh, maybe I'll get myself a little Xbox. But
well, you know what? By the time this is out, there will already be a Gears 5 campaign deep dive.
Nice.
From Adkins and I. So you'll get an opinion. There are a few spoilers in there though, so you've got to be a bit careful. But generally, I think it's good. I think it's as good as what people are saying.
Right.
It's better than 4, which is good. It's in the right direction, I'd say. So,
right.
You know, you haven't got an Xbox now, have you?
No, but I reckon you could pick one up reasonably cheap now, couldn't you?
Oh, yeah. Less than 200 these days.
That's quite a lot just to play Gears 5.
I'll get it on Game Pass. £1 trial month. Play it.
Really?
Yeah, it's on Game Pass. Day 1. Actually, it was on the same day. You know, you can like buy the Ultimate Edition of things, and they give you like 4 days early access.
Yeah.
It was on Game Pass the same day as that, so you got Hall paying 80 odd quid for Ultimate. Me and Adkins sitting there going, right, we'll play it day 1 on Game Pass. Thank you.
Loving life, Jesus.
That's that. But to link it back to Celeste is available on all platforms, including the Xbox, and I think it's been one of their monthly games. So there's no excuse for me not to play this, really, on the Xbox, because I've got it on Games with Gold.
Oh, fucking hell, that's amazing. No, you definitely play it then.
Yeah, but then again, like we've mentioned, it feels like it should be a Switch game to be playing handheld, like on this big 4K.
Yeah, it is perfect for like a plane ride or bus trip or something, to be fair.
Yeah. Is it frustrating at all? Is it not? Because Cuphead sounded like there could have been chances for rage to set in, but is Celeste ever get to that stage, or is it?
Like I said, to be honest, I don't want like a prick, but like for me, like it is just like my bread and butter. Like it just it was fine. But I can imagine, so like Cuphead different. Like had I not been on that holiday, Cuphead would have probably been binned. It was just there are bits where you're like, this is ridiculous. Yeah. Whereas Celeste definitely not. But I guess it just depends, what you're sort of programmed to be good at. Yeah, because put me on FIFA or something and I'll crumble every time. But this, it's was pretty easy. Not easy, that's a massive lie. I died about 4,000 times. But you're gonna. But no, it wasn't the same level of challenge as Cuphead. I would say it's a difficult game, but fair difficult. And obviously it's very short. It's not Dark Souls. It's not some epic sprawling thing. It's like very contained and you can get through it.
Yeah, you haven't got to worry about getting a parasite on your head 25 hours in, backtracking, getting stuck for 6 weeks.
Getting killed. Yeah, that's fucking ridiculous.
9 out of 10 for that experience. Madness. Is there a difficulty slider on this, or is it just one set difficulty from the start? There's no way
Good question. No idea. I'm going to say no because I don't know how they could really do that. You have like a bit like a Meat Boy, I believe, where you kind of have B-sides of the levels.
Oh yeah, like you go through like a little portal or something.
Exactly. Yeah, you collect like cassettes or something in this one.
Yes.
And then you can like play a more difficult version. So that I guess would be the different. It's just like if you want to challenge yourself more, there you go, kind of thing. They also have actually. I found like a bit of an Easter egg, which was like a little laptop or PC, and it lets you play that version they made the full game on that Game Jam.
Oh right.
So it's all there, like so you can just play it at any time. Because I started playing, I was like, I was this part of the game, and I was like going through, and it just wasn't ending. And so quickly Googled, and they were like, "Oh no, that's just like a hidden thing, and it's just the game they made." So that's in there as well.
Last thing before we kind of hand it over, if there's any final thoughts, what's the checkpointing like? Is it like once you get past one screen, you won't have to go back to that screen, or is it like to do 2 screens in a row, maybe? Or how does the checkpoint and what is it? Is it brutal or fair in that respect? Yeah,
basically screen to screen. I mean, there might be bits where you have to collect keys, and do you know what? I think regardless of what you need to do, so it's always screen to screen. So if you have to do like a few tasks and get a key, if you die on the way, you'll go back and you'll have to do the beginning of that again. Yeah. But so like there might be bits where you have to like light several switches to open a door or something. But it won't checkpoint on each switch. It's just screen to screen basically.
And each level, is it normally multiple screens? It's not just one screen, or some of them a bit of a mix?
Yeah, so like I said, like there's like a level where you climb the mountain, but it's not a derelict mountain. So I think it was a ski resort. So there's a level where you're in like a hotel, and in there you'll have to kind of like help, because it is actually quite good. Yeah, it's not just her. There's like several other characters. I mean, they're not the most realistic people, but they're quite fleshed out and stuff. They've all got their own issues.
Is that like a little hub? Is it?
No hub world or anything. It's just like you kind of keep meeting. There's like this other guy who's he goes like, I'm a distant traveller from Seattle, and like I think she's in Canada. I think maybe she's meant to be in Vancouver, thinking about it, because that's where that guy is. Anyway, I don't know. But
mate, what if you saw a little like Pacman looking fella from there, and he was like, "Oh, I'm from England, and I've come to this game," like, and it was based on you, and you found that he'd actually met you and remembered you and put you in the game.
I'd bloody love that. Imagine it was my little face with that coffee, like eating up the screen, like really sort of like devastating things. That'd really annoy me though, then, wouldn't it? I'd be like, that's probably not me.
Keyboard.
Yeah, annoying. But so you meet all these little characters, and they're really good. And like every kind of going off flower target, but basically I think I've kind of overshot the story a bit. Like, it is actually better than I thought, because you will often bump into people and then there will be like several minutes of dialogue, so they are pretty fleshed out, these characters, and you'll have to help them. And so in the hotel there's like an owner who kind of is having his issues, and you try and help him, and that will require you like a lot of backtracking. And
oh, okay. And do you have to do that as part of
that is
blocker?
Yeah, exactly. So like, what's wrong with him is like blocking your way essentially. So you have to help him to help yourself. But that's the one I can think of that was definitely the most kind of. And when I say backtracking, it was more like you are in like a central room, and you have to go like up, down, left, right, and that will kind of take you round. Then the end of that will kind of bring you back to the room you were just in. So it's it's, you don't ever feel like. It's like I said, the whole thing is quite intuitive. You never feel lost. You never feel like you don't know what to do. It's just, picking a way and working your way through it, basically.
Nice. Well, are there any other final thoughts or any other business that we may have missed during this particular review that you want to shout out about the game, or are you ready to go into the final?
I think let's do it, yeah.
Excellent. So, you never remember the system, but what would you give Celeste in terms of its official grading?
I'm gonna say it's a solid 8.
8 out of 10.
Yeah.
Silver. Nice. I thought you might give it a 9 for some reason. I don't know why.
It probably wasn't quite, because I think I think a lot of it is just expectation. I'd heard I'm the same as you. I didn't realise how long it's been out. But when you just hear about everyone raving about it, and then you think, oh, it's got a really good story, you're like, oh, okay, right, I'm on board for this. And it was a really nice story, and it's a really good game. But I'm not knocking it. It's just I think Cuphead was a 9, right? Yeah. So this is an 8. Yeah, I think that's actually a really fair score, and it is a really good game.
Nice. Well, I will want to get round to this. It doesn't sound like it's going to take millions of hours to get through.
No. And to be honest, I think the only reason it took me a bit longer at the end, I think I told you, is that I sort of played a lot of it and then got to like the last level and then played very little, and then I kind of revisited it and I was like significantly shitter at it. So yeah, if you just get it through, you could probably knock it out in like 2 or 3 evenings, I would say.
Yeah, nice.
Or like a week's commute.
Yeah, on OpenCritic, it's got a 91 top critic average. That's based on 65 critic reviews, so that's very high.
Yeah,
and that was one of the highest scoring ones from last year. But obviously, it had the juggernauts of Red Dead and God of War and Spider-Man to deal with last year. 100% of critics recommend it, so no one's out there saying don't play it. That tells you all you need to know from the critic side of things. I'm just going to read off a handful of the summaries from some of these guys and just get your quick opinion on whether it's something you agree with, disagree, or think is fair. So we're going to go with Tom Marks from IGN. Sort of, you're a bit of a mark for IGN, aren't you? UK podcast. You love
it. All right, yeah.
Sort of had to go to them since Scattershot abandoned ship, and they're definitely gone, are they? Is that the?
I think they had babies, mate. Really killed it. Yeah.
There's people here having babies, but it's still going on. Life doesn't stop. Come on. Anyway, Tom Marks, IGN. Celeste is a surprise masterpiece. Its 2D platforming is some of the best and toughest since Super Meat Boy, with levels that are challenging to figure out as they are satisfying to complete.
Yeah, I agree with it.
It's a 10 out of 10, that is.
Bloody hell. I think that is the thing, though, really. That surprise. It wasn't a surprise for me. I've already heard the masterpiece.
And people always say that your expectations don't matter. It absolutely does.
Oh, mate, massively. Like with movies now, like for years, like I used to be such like a movie hound, and I'd get like Empire magazine. I'd be looking forward to films fucking months, years in advance. Always disappointed. And in the last sort of 6 years, probably, I've completely been that. I might watch one trailer and then I turn up, and do you know what? It's made my enjoyment of movies just go like through the roof. I go in with like no expectations generally. Yeah. I didn't even see the It 2 trailer. I just went, I was like, right, there's my opinion. I had no expectations. That's fine.
Is that something you'd be tempted to do with games, just so you don't, or do you think you just miss stuff like this? I
think my problem is I really enjoy it. Like I don't listen to any movie podcasts, whereas I really enjoy video game podcasts, because it's a more, I don't know. I mean, there's a whole culture around films, but I just think games. There's like a lot of games I know I would never play, and I really enjoy hearing about them. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. So I enjoy that. So I'm probably always going to have things spoiled to a point with games, and I'm okay with that generally. I'm still going to play the games I want.
Yeah, exactly. Sean Prescott, a PC gamer, an engaging, vibrant and challenging platformer that adds narrative to a genre often shy of it. 80 out of 100, so 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I totally agree, yeah.
Metro Game Central, 9 out of 10 this is. The best indie platformer since Super Meat Boy, but also one of the best storytelling experiences of recent years, with an incisive and thoughtful portrayal of mental illness.
Yeah.
Best storytelling experiences in recent years.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, because I've heard, like, what was that one you played, which was all, like, mental health issues? Soul...
Hellblade.
Hellblade, yeah.
Yeah, that is... I
mean, I don't know what that is, but I feel like this is a much more simpler, like, it's, a young girl having some, like, issues, like, but they're, I mean, to be honest, like, I guess it is very realistic and, like I said, very simple, just a very sort of small story, but done in a very nice way. So it is very good. I just don't know. I just thought maybe like there was going to be a mechanic playing into that, or...
Should record in 1 minute.
Know. But yeah, I mean, I agree. It's a good opinion. Yeah.
I can't even find any low scores because everything was 100% recommended. So
Right.
me hunting for that's not going to yield any results. I think we'll just leave it there.
Fair enough.
But yeah, Senator Hellblade's good, but you need those headphones for that. I think
Oh yeah, actually, do you know what? Finally, I am. I've got a super giant TV now.
Yeah.
We had so I had some family stay over. They're a bit more tech savvy than me, and I've had with my old TV, I was given a soundbar and subwoofer. Never set it up. I was actually going to sell it, and I tried to sell it, and someone was like, "Oh, have you got the remote?" And I was like, "Well, no." As stated, no remote, and they wouldn't buy it. And I was like, right. Anyway, they came, they rigged it all up for me. I was fucking a mentalist, mate. It's so. I mean, I know it's not the headphones I need, but my God, I was playing The Witcher 3 last night. I was terrified. It really fucking adds a lot to it.
Yeah, it's mad how the test I would do is always have the telly run and then turn the soundbar off and then switch them like almost immediately, and you don't realise how bad the standard sound output is on a normal telly. It's like so tin, there's no bass there, and if you get a subwoofer with a soundbar with a subwoofer, unlike Adkins who went and bought one without one, sort of blown that. Prime Day deals costing, didn't do his research.
What, he got the soundbar, not the subwoofer?
Yeah.
I do think it's that bass that really adds that next level, to be fair.
Told you, Adkins. You'll be listening.
Sorry, Adkins. It is true, mate.
But yeah, no, it's the sound. I mean, the mad thing is, I've got that set up in the lounge, but when I play my games, I haven't got one, so I need to really. That. I'm running out of plug sockets. That's the real cost of that. That's the real fact of the matter is I don't have. I need to get another extension cable.
Mate, get Keith in there. Get some new. Chisel out the wall. Get you some new sockets in, as many as you need. Plaster that up. That look lovely. You've got a key to get in. That's a 2-day job.
You'll probably charge me for that though. Can't be paying that for that.
No. If not, S&G Electrics, great Wakering.
Yeah, it's true. There's all sorts knocking around here. Anyway, Celeste, 8 out of 10. Lovely jubbly. Random question. If and this is something that will be formalised for next year's reviews, if there was an option to use 8.5, so I know you said on, I think, Resi 7, you wanted to give it use like a sort of a higher end 8. Would you have been tempted to use it for Celeste?
Yeah, 100%. It's actually scattershot days. I would always say my thing would be it's an 8, but it's definitely banging on the door of a 9. So if there was an 8.5, you'd get it all day long.
Interesting.
It's a high 8.
We might be. Well, the reason I said that is because I was thinking of letting people do 0.5s.
Yeah, but that's the thing, because I say high 8. So what in my head am I thinking like an 8.8? Like, is that then? And then when do you go with that? That's the thing. Yeah. So. Yeah.
At one point, you could use all of them, but it kind of got flushed away because some of them you think, it's a 9.1. You think, what the hell does that mean?
Yeah, that's mental. That is insane. I never thought of it like that because I feel like use it if it was going to be sort of like, just under that number. Whereas, what is the difference between a 9.1 and a 9.3? Right.
Yeah. Some people will sit there and say they can tell you that, and I think they're bonkers. It's madness in my eyes, but there you go. That's why we get about 3 viewers a week, because of those sort of opinions. Anyway, thanks for joining us on Celeste. Anything in the pipeline? Because I know last time we sort of teased this with Cuphead, saying Celeste is on the roadmap. Other than The Witcher 3, which I do want to do like a game club sort of sit down with you.
So no one wants a review of The Witcher 3 6 years after the event, so I won't be doing that. But that's it. I've got it's a good question actually. I'm probably going to go with Link's Awakening on Switch for my commute.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like that's... I mean, it's been a long time since I've played it, but I think that's quite a short game, and I think it is a one-for-one remake, so I can't imagine that's going to take long. Xbox, PlayStation, I don't really know what else I've got now to...
Mate, get back to Hollow Knight.
I could get back to Hollow Knight. I really like the look of Control, which I know you've been playing. I'm guessing you're going to review that, or if you haven't already. What else is there? I've got a massive shame pile of games I still need to get through, but I might play that. I forget what it's called. The London Heist guys, Blood and Tears or whatever on VR.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because that would only be short, yeah. And I've got Super Hot on VR as well, which I started but didn't finish. So I've got options. So no, not sure, but I'll obviously continue to play. I just need to get through The Witcher first.
Yeah, that is a bit of a logjam, that game. Came out at the right time, though, from what I remember. I think it came out at like end of May, so no one's really doing it.
Yeah, it's perfect, yeah.
Perfect, like, summer game. But obviously we've not afforded that opportunity in 2019. Anyway, thanks for joining us. I'm sure you'll be back in due course with some sort of report on some form of games, but everyone else, nothing more for us to say apart from thanks for your time and ta-da.
That was, do you know what? It's the one thing I didn't say about Celeste. I should have said, like, I felt like 16 quid I paid for it. I actually feel like that was a bit steep.
Oh.
Should have said that. I think maybe that's what really went into like an A. Like the fact that you've got it on Game Pass or whatever, like that's amazing. But it's probably like steep. I feel like sort of tenner would have been more like, because I think I paid 16 for Cuphead, and I'm like, that's fine. I just feel like this was significantly shorter, and I don't know. Maybe I'm being a bit stingy, but yeah, I just felt 16 was a little bit steep.
I'll edit it in at the end. There you go. Matt Forson called out for money grabbing. Real sour note for Celeste to end on. Bonus footage.